Hello, and welcome to another episode of CRT Sound System. Here with episode 90, and here as always with Reese. We're talking about Operation Ragnarok. Reese, how are you?
I'm incredible, Tom. How are you?
I'm pretty fantastic, thanks. Yeah, looking forward to talking about this soundtrack because it is a banger. And we've got a guest along, Jimmy. Welcome back. How are you getting on,
Hey,
Jimmy?
hey. Well, unfortunately, I'm actually playing the game, so I'm doing terribly.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Which is the point of-
Sadly, this game is dog shit. So,
Yeah.
so I don't think we're going to be talking too much about the actual game itself. But the music is amazing. What is Operation Ragnarok, Jimmy? Tell us all about it.
Well, it's Zed Blade if you're nasty, and
I am nasty, so yeah, let's do that.
it's a very obscure Neo Geo shooter, which feels like it was made for the Amiga. And if anybody has ever played Euro shooters, you'll know what I mean. This is a very crude attempt at the genre, and, which is fine because you know what? Like a lot of Amiga games, in fact, it is the basis for an incredible soundtrack.
100%, yeah. It's funny you mentioned it being sort of like an Amiga game because I was just saying to Reese while you were out that yeah, it's like it is like an elevated Amiga game, and it does have that real Euro jank feel to it. And when you said it to me the other night, I was like, oh god, it is a fucking Amiga game, isn't it? Hold on there. Jimmy is sounding okay to me.
Okay.
What are you hearing, Reese?
Just Jimmy being incredibly quiet.
Okay. Maybe they're.
But if you are hearing Jimmy okay, that's the important thing.
Yeah, well, as long as just boost them up in the volume, and I can edit it later so that they sound fine.
Okay.
But yeah, Reese, what's your sort of experience with Zed Blade or Operation Ragnarok?
I had this. This was a new one for me. I had not heard of it before. Maybe I had been in an arcade with it at some point in my life, but it sort of did not quite stick in my memory. I did download one of the sort of like arcade collection re-releases they're doing for a lot of different kind of Neo Geo games and general arcade games. I'm not 100% sure how it works, and I played through it, and I enjoyed it, but it was also fucking bullshit. It's definitely a game that is like designed to just suck your quarters out of your dick at a just immense speed. And I respect that, but also I got tired of it really quick. But the soundtrack is by far the best thing, and it's got like fun visuals, stuff like that. But definitely a banger soundtrack from a king of shmups, if not the king of shmups. And listening to let me sorry a banger soundtrack by Manabu Namiki, and I was listening to a bunch of his other stuff and just rocking really hard, really just really good, really fun.
Yeah, if you're a shmup liker, Manabu Namiki is one of the best for soundtracks. Like he's on all of the best ones basically. We've covered a bit of his stuff on the show before, doing we did like a little shmup episode, like a bit of a grab bag, a year or two ago. And like his name comes up a lot when I'm sort of looking into shmups to play as well. Just with like all of those soundtracks are absolutely fantastic, like Dodonpachi and Ketsui probably being among my favorites as far as that. But like he's worked on a bunch of stuff outside of that as well. Like he's part of the Base Escape group that I've brought up quite recently, and we've covered some of their stuff before, like 13 Sentinels, and I believe Manabu Namiki did contribute some tracks to that as well, if I'm remembering right. But yeah, like definitely one of the best to do it. And like this is an interesting one because it's like it is specifically sort of going for a particular genre. like we joked a bit about it, but like there's a lot of Gabber in this, and in fact, Reese, because I know we've discussed it sort of in passing before about your history as like a happy hardcore girly,
Yeah.
like what is your sort of, because you're not usually the genre person on this show, so like I want you to tell people what Gabber and happy hardcore are.
Well, I've never heard the term gabber before. I'm not sure if so I'm curious to how that relates. But like I don't know, like heavy hardcore is sort of, I guess, I don't know the formal structures of the genre, but it just seems like it's a very kind of like raver centric,
Mm.
very kind of like upbeat melodies to be on drugs to while you dance. I remember like I got a happy hardcore, like my first CD I ever got that was kind of my own choice. It wasn't like, oh, you listen to the Beatles, here's a Beatles CD for Christmas. Was me just being like, happy hardcore. That's what a crazy phrase. I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna spend $17 on that at Tower Records or whatever. And like it had a song on it called "I'm a Raver Baby," and I listened to that album maybe 200,000 times. And I would like listen as like a 14-year-old, having never done a drug, not understanding what raves are even really, and just being like, wow, what an aspirational song, like I want to be a raver one day. And I was never a raver, but I enjoyed that song. So I don't know. You probably have I might have the love, but you probably have a better understanding and are able to explain exactly what's going on. And as I look, because as I learned, this was actually quite embarrassing music to listen to,
Oh yeah.
and I definitely put this on in groups, and people were like, "What the fuck? Turn this off right now." Situations. So I got
Amazing.
shamed out of it pretty quick.
Yeah,
It's
like
very Europe.
go on, sorry.
It's a very European centric genre.
Yeah, I
Like,
was literally about to say that.
you're
Yeah.
about to say something about Scooter by any chance?
Well, I was going to say that just following up on what Reese said about the Happy Hardcore album being her first album. The first album I bought with my own money was Our Happy Hardcore by Scooter, which I think was like their third album. um, that was just in the air at the time, but like yeah, it's a very Eurocentric genre, which I guess makes sense if you're making a Japanese shooter that is essentially a Eurojank shooter. Like you want to sort of lean into that aspect of it, I suppose. But like yeah, Gabber is a little bit sort of less happy than the happy hardcore, I guess. It's a much darker hardcore sound. Like the synths are a lot more distorted and stuff like that. I feel like Jimmy, you could probably speak more to the actual sort of construction of Gabber compared to other things, but like it's a bit downstream from like hard house, and then like later you got like hard style coming from that as well, which is like even more distorted synths and stuff going on. Sorry, Jimmy, what were you going to say?
Yes, it's like very repetitive use of the drums.
Mm.
I think the most prominent Gabber track I've ever heard in video games is the game Sonic Colors. When you turn into the drill, it basically just plays like a really minimalist but stereotypical Gabber track while you're drilling through things. Yeah, Gabber is a lot more confrontational. It's a lot more percussive. It's a lot more repetitive. I think it's like an
Very
Amsterdam
little
thing, right?
vocals compared. Yeah, it's very sort of Amsterdam focused. Yeah.
I'm not that cool that I'm like completely into it, but there was a Gabber moral panic in the UK. They were trying to imply that it was like just something that only Nazis would listen to.
Yeah, I
So
remember that.
that was fun. But
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
so one of the final tracks in this game that I don't know if we're going to hear later is actually called She Likes Gabber, and that's the final boss track. So that's nice. And also, while we're mentioning Scooter, there is a Scooter Breakcore remix album that is incredibly funny. If you can get hold of it, it's called the Gutter Techno Experience.
That
And it's
is.
basically just people doing huge piss takes of Scooter, but at the same time, like the love and enjoyment of Scooter comes through.
Yeah.
So I would really recommend that.
I would love to listen to that, actually. Yeah, that sounds like a fucking great time.
I'm watching the track sequence of the game as we talk. Actually, as one of the characters is called Uncle Beard.
What an interesting name.
You can place Uncle Beard while you listen to Happy Hardcore in a terrible, terrible Euro shmup.
Yeah, it's something that Reese mentioned as well. Actually, is just like the fact that the game actually does look very good. Is interesting because it's sort of like it's not a fun game to play because it has a lot of the problems that like Euro shooters do, in that like it's not clear where your hitbox is all the time, and it's like a lot of that comes from there being a reasonably early entry in the shooter, like before the sort of modern conception of like of a bullet hell shooter came up, where like you had like your ship sprite was so much bigger than your actual hitbox and things like that. So like I've really struggled with any of these games like R-Type or Darius or anything like that, but this one it just felt so much more janky than even those ones. I think because you've got such a big sprite.
It's
like
huge.
It's massive. And like the entire the entire sprite is the hitbox. Like there's really no sort of grace to it. It also has one of those real bad things that I find is a massive sin in a lot of these shooters, in that the ground hurts you. So like if you go down too far and just bonk off a not very clear like ground sprite, then you will just die, and sometimes you're not even sure what hit you.
The asteroid belt level, I mean, it's so chaotic, it's tough for me to say, but it seems like it's like the asteroid rocks don't hurt you until they pass like a invisible threshold where they get to a certain size and they start hurting you. But there's so many rocks on the screen at the same time, it's really hard to parse like which ones are going to hurt you and which ones aren't. It's with that big sprite, and the bullets are constantly just being like farted out at you in just like sprays at every direction, and so it doesn't feel like you could have even feasibly dodged a lot of the stuff that's coming. It's not like a tough bullet hell shooter where you're like, oh, I gotta weave through this. You're just like, oh, it just this jet just took a dump on me. All right, let's press the right bumper for another quarter. Like,
yeah. Although looking at it, like the one thing that jumps out every time I see this game is the parallax scrolling, and it is insane. There's like 7 layers of parallax in it, and it just and again, like technically this game is amazing, and like it's got like really early polygons and stuff like that in it, and like it looks amazing, and sounds amazing, but it's just it feels dog shit to actually play. I have not successfully beaten it, unfortunately. I just didn't have the patience. The asteroid level was the one where I was just like, nah, I'm done with this. Thank you very much. I'd already pumped like 15 credits into it, I think, at that point. I'm not that good at shooters, and I'm not that patient with games that are bad like this. I'm willing to be patient for something like a Dodonpachi or Ketsui or something like that that's like genuinely rewarding to play, even if I suck at it. So I'm willing to sort of like put in the time, but like for this, I was just like, no, thank you. I'll just go back to listening to the soundtrack on its own.
That's an experience I have a lot with shooters and also with fighting games, where I don't really have the technical skills or the patience to learn the technical skills, to my detriment, but I do always adore the aesthetics. And also, and this is something that shooters and fighting games have in common, is for what they are, they have absurdly deep or interestingly told lore. But I don't know what the lore of Zed Blade is, so I've kind of failed in that respect. But this certainly does it. It implies something bigger than what it actually is, because you're traveling across the solar system and you're fighting some kind of like weird, ethereal, humanized AI at the end that likes Gabber. So there's the implication there you'd maybe get with something like a Ray Storm or an R-Type, that there is maybe something larger going on behind Uncle Bigid's quest to kill Gabber fans.
Yeah. Well, what I took it to mean, because as you mentioned, there is the AI goddess at the end who you can't shoot, but is constantly just like shooting shotgun blasts of like extra rare or extra fast rather green stars at you. And so the implication is that it's like a Skynet situation, but if Gabber became hyper intelligent and declared war on humanity, and you need to go to the far edges of the solar system to defeat the sentient Gabber threat, which is, I assume, what was the moral panic was about. But
I mean, I for one welcome our new Gabber overlords.
yeah, I did end up beating it, but let me tell you, Tom, you made the correct decision because like what the final couple of levels were, it was me. I just like put in like 40 credits into the game, and then just I was no longer hitting the top score because I was dying so quickly. So I just had to hit. I could easily just hit continue and keep playing, and it was like stutter step. Let me just see what the next animation is, and it was almost like Dragon's Lair-esque, where it was just fucking impossible, and you were just being like immensely patient just to see what the next enemy looked like, what the next stage looked like. Um, and let me tell you, that was not personally very fun, but it was cool. It had a cool ending when you beat Yggdrasil, and the appearance of the Gabber goddess. That was like legitimately like a cool sprite, cool design.
Yeah, hard to fault any of the designs and stuff like that in it, to be fair. All right, I think we'll jump into the first block of tracks. So all these tracks again by Manabu Namiki. So first track is Konstruktion. Then I have Shootaholic Shockout mix. Then I have Termination for You Lunatic mix. Then I have Universe Blue Soyuz mix. That last one definitely a bit of a chill out compared to the other ones, which were definitely a little bit more of a freak out, I think.
Absolutely.
um, yeah, like really just sort of like evoking a lot of the club music at the time. Like, but we're talking about like the Shootaholic really sounds like early Prodigy. Like that last one there has got like a nice sort of Italian piano house kind of vibe going on with it. Along with some very much Sonic the Hedgehog style synths going on too. Like I was looking up how this is made because I'd sort of assumed this was a CD game just based on the quality of the music, but it is in fact all sort of done on like the internal synthesizers on the Neo Geo, which is very very impressive. I was looking up to his methods. Like they do a mix of like FM synth and PCM on that hardware. But yeah, basically, like he says, he created the music and sound effects using a MIDI instrument and then converted them for implementation on the game board, which is like again just absolutely wild that people had to do this back in the day. Like, and it really sort of gives such a like a sense of sort of people having to actually sit down and work with a piece of hardware to actually get the best out of it. Seems to really be like a very common theme with a lot of this early stuff, like or not her early stuff, but like this sort of 90s stuff where they're sort of still figuring out how to make sounds that can sort of compete, let's say, with like mainstream music and sort of actually sound like real music, but they don't have the sort of hardware to be able to generally play like CD music through the system. Like, so it's always really impressive when people are able to like take a slightly less sort of complex piece of hardware and turn it into incredible sounding music.
Because one thing that I don't like about, I guess, kind of like the cultural production mode that we have today is that everything feels like there's no restrictions. You know, you
Yeah.
can. I mean, obviously, some poor schmuck has to work at the CGI factory or whatever. But and this is the problem with AI as well. They're basically removing any kind of barriers, but by doing that, they're taking away the shape of things. Things are
Hmm.
shaped by the boxes that they're put into,
Yeah.
and it feels like we lose some of the spirit of it if all we're doing is just kind of whatever we want to do. I
Yeah.
like the idea of it being kind of like a conversation between the artist and the tools that they're using.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like, there's a sense sometimes I think that like if you can do anything, then it's hard to do something. You know, it's hard to make it feel sort of like a person had to sort of make a decision, because you can always just do whatever you want. So like, why are you making artistic choices then? You know, so like the restrictions of hardware, the restrictions of whatever you're sort of, you know, say like that box you're in, like that can be freeing in a way, and it can be artistically enriching in a way that I think just sort of being able to just type sort of whatever you need into the plagiarism machine and have it produce a result that, you know, maybe not the best thing that the world has ever seen, but it is to a certain ears and certain eyes. Like, this is representative of art rather than being art. I think, you know, it's tough to sort of to look at things where, you know, without those restrictions. And like I've mentioned it before, but there that one Brian Eno quote of like the you know, that thing of what we miss from a piece of technology or anything is, once it's gone, is those restrictions, is the limitations. You know, like once VHS was no longer the primary medium through which we consumed movies, that sort of VHS aesthetic then became desirable in its own way, even though people wanted to have like the better quality of DVD or the better quality of Blu-ray or whatever like that. Then, you know, a VHS then became an artistic choice rather than just something that we sort of have to deal with in terms of making the thing work on the hardware.
Absolutely. And I would feel like sometimes it feels like the VHS stuff, it's not only a love, but it feels almost like a separation anxiety,
Mm,
where, you have the silky smooth, like perfectly encoded full HD of something, and there's just like there's no personality to it other than its quality, and
Mm.
so this kind of like culturally impactful sort of limitation becomes its style, where you're just
Mm.
like, okay, this is real movies because this is what we loved before it got perfect. And I'm at this point I'm kind of amazed that I'm not sick of VHS stuff. Like I was watching people talk about putting a VHS filter on something, and I looked at the results and I was like, damn, this looks good. I should do more of this in something. And I'm just like, if this was anything else, I'd be a little sick of it. But it's because it's so prevalent. And like
Mm.
in a horror movie, like put some VHS. Like I'm still watching those VHS movies and loving them.
Yeah.
And at this point is at least it has to be at least 51% the love of the medium. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, but I think that's kind of true for LLM stuff, generative AI stuff, which that's what I assumed you were talking about while I was taking a dump. Um,
You know as well.
the and I think too is that it the I don't know. I'm having trouble fully articulating my thought, but there's the HD perfection, but it has like it's scrambled in such a way that has no purpose. It's just the technology's not there yet, and it just feels like very soulless. And even when it gets it right, like the derivative nature still shines through if you can't always 100% tell. And it's sort of like, in the second that you're just like, it's just, you can immediately discard it because, like, the whole point of all of the shit that we're doing on some level is the sort of like the psychic transference that happens when you listen to music or watch a movie. Like, there's a feeling that needs to be imbued by Gabber or anything else that doesn't sound the same when you're just like, yeah, what if we got amped up and we danced and the music was a little silly, and um, you're not going to be able to communicate that in the same way you would unless you put on "I'm a Raver Baby, Can't You See?" So.
Yeah.
I think part of it is when you look at a painting, one of the things that you also kind of can see through the paint is the texture of the canvas or the texture of the oil paints that we used.
Mm.
And so things like the VHS grain, the feeling of FM synth, the look of pixel art, the reason why we put so much time and effort into emulating CRTVs, the things that we're using now, they don't have texture to them. And I think we really want that texture in our lives. And we haven't
Absolutely. Like the
haven't
sprite designer for Final Fantasy talking about how an important element of his sprite work for the mountains of Final Fantasy was that the CRT would combine them in a way that they kind of shimmer. And he said he wanted you to look at these mountains and be like, what is this crazy alien crystal mountainscape I'm experiencing? And then you play Final Fantasy on your just, your regular monitor, and it doesn't have that quality at all. And it's a perfectly lovely sprite. You can tell it's a mountain, but it's not this shimmery crystal wonder. And so it's just like, it fused the texture and the kind of base digital work itself in such a way that made it, 10 times more compelling. And, I think that is an incredibly salient point in everything, all of the arts discussions that we're having today, is that these contexts add a lot to things. Like I was looking over um, other happy hardcore bands, and I remembered one that was huge for me in my kind of late teens, which was Dune. um, which was a happy hardcore slash techno band that did like nothing but like EDM songs about Dune before I knew really what Dune was. Like I played the PC game that's kind of like a visual novel about it, so those were the two things about Dune that I knew. And it's like I just and that has always kind of like informed my uh the way I approach the novel and the movies now, where and in a sense where I'm just like, this isn't real Dune. This beautiful movie with Timothy Chalamet doesn't ring true because there's not an insane electronica uh, score happening. Like I'm not listening to happy hardcore right now. And that's, I mean, it's a personal context, sure, but I think
Yeah.
that still has a huge impact. And I think, these experiences kind of merge together in the kind of in a broader way in what we're talking about.
100%.
There's even a feature, certainly on Mr. FPGA, when you boot up the Mega Drive core, you've got the option to turn on composite blend, because without composite blend, you're not actually seeing the art as it was designed to be intended. They were using the low quality of the TVs to actually get richer color palettes.
Yeah, and even stuff like you look at
Yeah.
like Sonic 2 and like the waterfalls, I think is probably the biggest example of that. Like the difference between how that shows up on just like with the raw pixels versus like how that looks on a CRT TV through composite in particular is is really is night and day. Like, and it's and I know a lot of people don't care about it, and most people will just quite happily put on their SAI filters or whatever the name of those silly filters they used to do were, but like
Super
just
Eagle.
yeah, to smooth out like the sprites and stuff. But like and then there's like the other end where people are just like, they want the rawest pixels possible. They don't want any sort of dithering. They don't want any of those sort of effects that are created by the scan lines. So there's sort of is a bit of a weird sort of blend where you want to see both the sort of the thing that was created in as much of like a high definition as possible, but you also still want to see it the way that it was intended to look initially. So you end up sort of trying to compromise between the two, and it's very difficult to sort of get a good one. And yeah, it's sort of you're always compromising once you sort of move beyond the technology that created a thing.
10,000%. I remember trying to replay Resident Evil 1 for the PlayStation on an emulator. And like the way the Duck Station had it set up is it kind of like had at least the way that I launched it had like way too nice textures, way too nice resolution. And it wasn't necessarily like an invalid way to play, but I was like, this is not what I want to play. I want to play the way it looked on the original PlayStation.
Yeah.
What is that? How do I get there? And there was like some suggestions and stuff, but it was like eventually I was just like, I'm gonna come back to this, and I just bought the GOG version so I could kind of do not have to fuss with it in that manner. But it was just like it was not my Resident Evil. And I think that it's an interesting sort of facet to all this, and sort of like is really, I think, telling with the way that the current like market for like retro stuff and CRT stuff is, where it's like, you're not necessarily more real if you play it on the original hardware on the original CRT. But I get why that matters to people. I get why they're just like, oh, I need to have the right CRT and I need to spend $900 to repair this thing and spend all this money on an original console and an original copy, because like the facsimile is a tough, even if you get it perfectly correct, there's still a little bit of doubt in your mind that everything's drilled in the way it's supposed to be. And so I can understand people just being like, I want it like that, because it matters. It does matter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. That's an interesting one we say with the PlayStation, because I do find that like I struggle to play PlayStation games in particular on TV unless I'm using DuckStation, because it has really good texture. It turns off the texture warping that the PlayStation does, but which is fine if I'm playing on original hardware. The texture warping doesn't bother me. But as soon as I start playing like PlayStation games on an LCD TV of any sort, it just starts to make me feel nauseous. It's such a weird, it's such a weird feeling. So like I have to turn it off if I'm playing on my on a HD TV. But like I have a CRT next to me and the PlayStation 1 is hooked up to it. And like when I'm playing my games on that, it looks absolutely fine. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. And again, like that, it's so funny how like you get something that is trying to be an accurate representation, or even like an estimation of how you did remember playing it. But it's, again, you're always compromising unless you're doing the original hardware and the original sort of systems.
I do think it is worst on the PlayStation with its particular bundle of quirks with the texture warping and the newness of the technology at the time. I feel like both emulating both Dreamcast games and PS2 games, there's their own with especially with the PS2, there can be its own challenges. But I'm not like this bit like, is this even the same fucking game? Did I download the right ROM? I feel like that's the case a lot more with the PlayStation.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we'll go on to the next block of tracks anyway, because we have not talked about this game for the entire block, which is fine.
There might be a reason for that.
Yeah, as I said at the start, we're not going to talk about this game very much. We have much more interesting things to talk about, and the music is good enough to sustain itself anyway. So yeah, we've got 4 more before we go into the remixes. I'm looking forward to the remix, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, we have Bionic Life Hangup mix, Asteroid Circus Repulse mix, Valkyrie She Likes Gabber mix, and then another Universe Blue, which is the Lunar Walker is Still Alive mix. I feel like I want to camp out on Manabu Namiki for a while because we talked about him a little bit, but I do really want to just sort of give him just as much props as possible. Like one of the absolute goats. I really genuinely don't think he gets enough sort of credit for like in many ways defining the sound of shmups. Like so much of his work is sort of considered seminal as far as like shoot 'em up soundtracks go. Like the Battle Garegga soundtrack is fucking insane, and again like super influenced by like techno music. Like the Ketsui soundtrack is ridiculous. Dodonpachi, all of those are fucking great. Like just like anytime I think of like shoot 'em up music and like the way that the way that those tracks are often like structured around the stages in terms of like sound and like how like you often start off with like the first stage is a little bit sort of there's a little bit more movement to it, and the second stage then sort of calms down a little bit and sort of gives you a little bit of a it changes up the pace a little bit, and then the third stage gets completely insane, and you get all the bullets coming at you in stage 3, and then like like that sort of structure for how shmups are played is so tied to the music, and we talked about it previously with like the Toho episodes where those ones are like specifically tied to the music in terms of like the bullet patterns depend on the music and stuff like that, and like obviously it doesn't go quite so far, but I don't think you get that in the Toho games without sort of like games being or sort of the music defining how these games are paced in a lot of ways. I don't know if that's a coherent point, but yeah.
Yeah, I get it. There's kind of like an orchestration to shoot 'em ups. There's a sort of this might actually be the distinction between Japanese shooters and European shooters. Japanese shooters feel like there's an orchestra of enemies that are being conducted. And then European shooters are just like a mosh pit.
That is, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
No, it sounds reasonable to me. I'm sitting my White House down and listening to you on this one because I don't know very much about shmups at all, but that sounds very true, and I think that it's probably dovetails very nicely to through his career. He sort of has, even as stuff has modernized, he seems to kind of has seamlessly gone to what seems to be more modern, kind of like unified theory shooters, like Death Smiles, and still like really manages to like dial in on the themes of whatever game he's doing while still like understanding the needs of the shmup, the frenetic compulsion required.
Absolutely, because like yeah, he's done a lot of other soundtracks. And one I really like is like the Odin Sphere soundtrack is an excellent one, and one I've been listening to a lot recently is Trauma Center. He did the second game, he did Under the Knife 2, yeah, and like those generally are basically Persona soundtracks, but like the one he did for Under the Knife 2 is much different. Like, and it's got a similar vibe. It's got that sort of same style to it, but like it's definitely him. And like yeah, you can just really hear that he's got a style and he likes to sort of to play around with it, and like he's very obviously influenced by 90s dance music. Like there's one track on the Battle Garegga soundtrack that is just a techno track from the 90s that I'm pretty sure he's just plagiarized, and not to an ill effect. Like it is a great version of that song, but it is essentially just a cover of another song. And yeah, like I really do think that he doesn't get enough love from sort of like the general populace of video game music enjoyers for the simple fact that he is sort of working in a niche genre, in terms of like the games that he tends to do.
Yeah.
Because like, people like their shooters, but it's obviously not going to be the same as like as an Odin Sphere or like a 13 Sentinels or whatever, which has a lot more wide appeal. Like the shooters obviously have, you really need to be a specific type of nerd to get super into shooters.
Like he's had a really bad time of things as well recently. I think he had a heart attack, then he got COVID. He's had some like mental health issues, so
God, yeah,
he really does deserve his flowers. And if we can kind of just send some love out there into the universe,
absolutely. Everybody, if you still have your Twitter account, which if you don't, thumbs up. But send him some love on Twitter, because shit's tough for the guy. Apparently, he became a father recently, and just like dovetailing with that, he got COVID and was hospitalized for and his like, you reading, I was reading through his translated tweets, and he was just like, there's nothing I want more than to go back to work. But I just feel like it's I'm too addled, and it's a real shame, because like I think that he could be doing banger soundtracks in 2026 easily. Slightly related, like I was looking through his soundtracks, and something he tweeted sort of like at the end of December in 2025 was this Game Boy a game, like OG Game Boy game he did, that's just like a visual novel. And it has kind of like his dancey signature, while sounding like a Game Boy visual novel game, and all of the sort of style tones that would be demanded from you. And I honestly like, there's a couple of, I don't know if I'll ever love a Game Boy soundtrack more than Metal Machines, but this was definitely up there. This was so much fun to go through. So, I think he can do it all.
yeah. No, I have to have a listen to that, because you posted that shortly before the episode. We started recording the episode, so I'll have to give that a go. I'd say he's again just one of the best to ever do it, and genuinely just hope that he gets through his current struggles. And I would love to see him get back to making music. I think everybody would benefit from that.
If you want to experience some of his harder to find titles, I've just realised that Battle Garaga is actually on the Mister, so I'm probably going to be checking that out next.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Valkyrie is fantastic, and again, great soundtrack. The last track we played in the last block, I should note as well, was a remix. So we're going to go into like a remix album that I found for this as well. But yeah, just worth noting that the last track we played on that block was not in the actual game, hence the sort of the much cleaner samples and much cleaner sound to it. But yeah, just again, like that sort of, I like to hear a remix of a video game a song. Like it's something that always appeals to me. The album we're going to go to is called Operation Ragnarok Remix. It's fairly straightforward, but notably, the tracks are all done by Shinji Hosoe and Ayako Saso, who we talk about a lot before, because they are sort of some of the best and some of the most prolific, really working with Namco a lot. Those guys do like the Ridge Racer soundtracks. They've done a couple of Tekken soundtracks. They do what's the weird fighter game with the skeleton?
Oh shit! Do you mean Fighting Layer EX?
Fighting Layer, yeah. Sorry, yeah. They do the Fighting Layer soundtracks. They've done the Tetris Grandmaster soundtracks, which we've played before on this pod very, very early in the show. I think episode 3 or 4. We played some tracks from Tetris the Grandmaster, and those are like very heavily Gabber influenced as well. So like it was something that like a lot of these guys who were working in the mid '90s, and I'm including like Yuzo Koshiro in that as well, were like really into sort of Western club music, and I don't know if part of that was sort of down to like the quote unquote dancing ban in Japan. Or what, but like yeah, there were a lot of them were really sort of leaning into these club sounds, and I guess a lot of them would have been in their sort of 20s at the time as well, so they would have been going out and listening to this music as they were out. But yeah, like you can definitely hear like how club music was influencing original compositions in games. But this release is from like 2011, so it's a little bit later, but it's a lot of those guys from that era. So yeah, I think we'll just jump into the first block of tracks from the remix album. So I have 3 tracks, all remixed by Ayako Saso. So I have Termination for You, Barrage Mix, Bionic Life, Chemistry Experiment Mix, and O.P.R Bounce Mix.
So, yeah, Operation Ragnarok's remix powered by Sampling Masters. Definitely a vibe. This is. I feel like even the album art with all of these marbles bursting forth from the album art feels so 1997 to me. I could be launched to the moon. I don't know. It's great.
Yeah, if like for a time, and I won't apologize for it, but I was really into psytrance for a while.
Yeah.
And like the aesthetic of psytrance is often just like that kind of shit where it's just like a bunch of fractals or just like weird 3D orbs that somebody threw together in Blender in 5 seconds. Like there's a very sort of like weird sort of low budget but also made in with high-tech computers kind of thing going on with the psytrance aesthetic, and I feel like that's captured here is in this as well. Yeah, it's definitely a vibe that sort of, yeah, those happy hardcore album covers are iconic in many ways. I do enjoy the pseudonyms that Ayako Saso and Shinji Hosoe given themselves, which is Sampling Masters Aya and Sampling Masters Mega.
Oh yeah,
they seem to use those pseudonyms for quite a lot of stuff, but
I wonder if that's this is going to sound so nerdy, but Transformers Master Force, there is a robot which is piloted by two separate humans called Mega and Giga, so I wonder if that's part of the reference. Oh, yeah,
it's
cool.
entirely possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
trust Jimmy to bring in the deep Transformers reference. Yeah, the stuff done by Ayako Saso is great. Like there's he's one of those people again who I think sort of is a name that people know, but because gets sort of lost in the Namco sound team of it all. Like he's on so many soundtracks going way back into the late 80s for Namco and then for Eureka later. But like so much stuff he's just credited as being part of the Namco sound team. And even now, if you go on like streaming, like their later soundtracks, like the stuff they've done on Tekken or for Tekken and Ridge Racer 6 and stuff like that, like a lot of that is just credited to Namco as a company. Which is a little bit disappointing. But you can, I think Saso has his own Bandcamp as well, where you can find a lot of the music and also just some like original stuff is available there as well. Same with Shinji Hosoe. He's got his own personal Bandcamp, I believe. And they both sort of release music for Super Sweep, who we talked about in a recent episode. I think with the what was it? Snowboard Kids. We ended up talking a little bit about Super Sweep because they were involved in the release of that soundtrack. But yeah, no, they do a lot of remixes specifically, actually, which is kind of an interesting sort of avenue to go down with video game music as well. And long-time listeners will know that I do love to just track down weird remixes where I can. I do love to include them.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it is a lot more of a time-honored tradition than I realized. I certainly, I'm not surprised by the existence of a remix album, but it's always especially lovely to see for something like Operation Ragnarok, which is not a game that I think a lot of people remember, to be generous, and
yeah,
and then to be like, yeah, for the Sampling Masters to go, Yeah, that's true, but it still fucking bangs. We're still gonna fucking release a happy hardcore album about it. It's not really happy hardcore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And what year did this come out? Did you say?
This
Oh, it
is
says
from like
2011.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is absolutely a fucking throwback. It's great.
I am actually just going to read the blurb here, translated by auto translated from the Super Soup website, but the yeah 16 years later, this beat, which continues to be loved by core freaks, which is a very funny term, is completely sublimated with the death techno rave sound that flashes back to the 90s scene. um, which I'm not sure how accurate a translation is, but that is a hell of a sentence, and that's definitely the vibe they're going for with these
I mean,
with these remixes for sure.
damn, they got our asses good there.
I am certainly, if nothing else, a core freak.
I always say that.
10,000%. Yeah, I don't know. It's it definitely feels very joyful, and I appreciate you tracking these down every episode, Tom. I saw something that was from our man that was just like a Duck Hunt remix, and I'm just like, wow, I can't wait till Tom tracks that one down so we can listen to it. But
Where's the Duck Hunt remix?
Nanami Namiki, sorry.
Okay, on his page. Okay,
Apologies. I learned, even though we've heard about him recently, I'm still getting him a little confused name wise. But Namiki did the Duck Hunt remix for Super Smash Brothers for the Wii. Wii
Oh,
U.
jeez. Okay.
And I was just like, I knew it wasn't for this episode, but I was like, when is this gonna get on the pod? The Duck Hunt remix from.
I mean,
And I
I'll if I could find a reason to include it, I would. It's just there's so much music in Smash Brothers. This is something we've definitely talked about before, but like Smash Brothers is essentially a museum of both video game music and just video games in general. Like much more than it is a game. I know people love to play competitively or whatever, but like just as a piece of software, it is such a history lesson. And like as again, like the amount of people that they got to do tunes for those soundtracks is frankly ridiculous, and should be commended at all times.
I think the thing that Smash Brothers doesn't get credit for is being an excuse for video games and video game culture. It does not justify itself; it just is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people have found this competitive scene in it, and that's what people talk about. But it's not Smash Brothers. That's like a byproduct of the Smash Brothers celebration, if you like.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
it's kind of I don't know, the fact that it's a museum seems not to matter at all to Smash. You know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure that there's some delight in that. You know, your main can be Luigi or whatever, but it in general it just seems that, like, you know, the to make it a fair game for the competitive scene, they have to just aggressively strip all personality out of it. Which, you know, I guess, you know, that makes sense. But sort of like I remember when somebody was like, "Oh yeah, let's watch some Super Smash Brothers," and I was just like, "They turn the items off? They're all picking the same characters." Part of the fun is being ice climbers and being so fucking annoying, even though they're dog shit. Like,
Yeah,
it's that is Super Smash Brothers to me. And definitely, you know, I got Super Smash Brothers Infinite, and I've never once played it multiplayer. I just basically unlock the stuff, or I'm reminded of different bad guys and characters because of the little themed battles that they have, and
yeah.
that to me is like infinitely more engaging than the actual punching people as Luigi.
Yeah. I do think like when we. Yeah, like I definitely have memories when we played Smash Brothers in college, and we played a lot of Smash Brothers, and we wouldn't be quite competitive as such, but like we would definitely be like on the upper level of the casual spectrum for sure. But like after we were done with the session, we would like sit down and look at the trophies and shit, and like read up about them. Like that aspect of the game was like as important to us as just like punching Peach with Dr. Mario or whatever. Like so like yeah, again it has sort of been lost in the sauce a bit, but like I'm glad that even up to the most recent release they have on Nintendo's side have and certainly like Sakurai himself is probably the biggest instigator of that, but trying to make it sort of like a just a celebration of games as a thing. And also, what was that weird mission? Did they not have a? Did they have a Metal Gear Solid mission? In one of them,
you're bringing it up.
Bomb,
it's happening.
With
yes,
with Paz and the bomb.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to bring it up once it came to my brain. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, there is a Metal Gear Solid. There's a mission that references the fact that Paz had a bomb in her uterus.
Yeah.
Which was a plot of one of the Metal Gear games. And if you're unfamiliar with it, remain unfamiliar with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Fuck me. Sorry, I had to bring it up with again one of those things that as soon as my brain thought of it, it was coming to me.
It was taking every iota of self-discipline not to bring it up. So thank you for freeing me of that burden.
Well, I suppose on that bombshell, no pun intended, we'll jump on to the next block of tracks. So I have 3 more remixes, all by Shinji Hosoe. First one is Universe Blue Ripples Mix. Then we have Asteroid Circus Shake Shake Mix. And lastly is Valkyrie Unruly Horse Mix. Tell me, Reese, was the unruly horse mix everything you hoped it would be?
It was. It was, and I have a semi-related question. How related is this to cyber goth culture?
I
'Cause
mean,
I
I
don't know
don't
a lot
know
about
really.
it, so if we could do like 45 minutes on cyber goths, that sounds like what you want.
My
Uh,
first experience of CyberGots was this weird shop in Manchester near the record shop, and it was just a shop that sold all this CyberGoth gear, and it was like everything with smiley faces on it, and lots of fishnets, and everything was neon, and the respirators and shit. But like, yeah, the music there was just like more hard style, I would say, than Gabber. Like hardstyle just being sort of an evolution of Gabber. But like a lot of them sort of were into doing like hardstyle shuffle dancing and stuff like that as well. And like that is a whole subculture that I have not a lot of experience with. But like I do know that they are sort of adjacent. I'm not sure how well connected they actually are. Yeah, you know, I was just saying during that track that it definitely reminded me more of sort of hard style than pure Gabber. And it makes sense given the sort of the age of this. It was around 2011 when sort of hardstyle was starting to get a little bit more mainstream. It has since gone back to being very underground. But there was a little while where I think it was maybe poking up a little bit in some sort of more mainstream dance sounds. I remember going to a hardstyle night at a club once, and just like they were playing hardstyle remixes of Coldplay. Like that was the kind of vibe that they were having.
Hell yeah. Thank you for responding so earnestly to my insipid troll. Tom brought up during the break. He's just like, why? I'm glad we didn't talk about cybergoth yet. And I'm just like, well, now I got to be a little dipshit about it.
Well, I had a feeling you'd do that to me, so you know. I was prepared.
I've been manipulated from. I see.
Well, it was just one of the things I knew I'd set my own trap as soon as I said this. I was like, "Fuck! I'm going to actually have to talk about CyberGoths." And again, I don't know a lot about CyberGoths, so if we have any CyberGoth listeners and I've gotten shit wrong, I'm sorry. Again,
if we have any CyberGoth listeners, come on the pod.
Absolutely.
What's the fight? Bring the ultimate CyberGoth game.
Yeah, I want to find out. Like, I want to find out. There's got to be like a CyberGoth video game, surely.
So we've talked about Arica and we've talked about cybergoths. Does that mean Doctrine Dark is a cybergoth?
I'm going to say yes for now, but I think we might have to table that discussion for another time.
Well, it's like cybergoth is one of those things to me where it's just like, you know, you keep hearing it as kind of like a punchline, and it's you know, sometimes it's some of the like genre distinctions to like my own ears and perception. It's sort of like the genre is sliced so thinly that I can't taste anything. It just tastes like, you know, the bread it came from. So that's sort of that was sort of my take on some of this stuff. And certainly cybergoth, it's like that GIF, you know, is classic. Number one GIF of all time. I'm willing to say. But yeah, I just want to learn more. I want to know more. So
like having gone back to look at Doctor and Dark again, because I had to remind myself of his character design. The respirator is definitely cybergoth, but I think the blonde hair really sort of puts him out of being a true cybergoth.
So you're saying that only his alternative colours?
Yeah, I suppose if he has alts, yeah.
Literally about to check now if he has any cybergoth colour alts.
That would be very cool.
There is a cybergoth game called No Longer Human that was announced in 2021. So it's yet to come out, but when that comes out, we'll have to do a No Longer Human release.
Cybergoth revisited, yeah, absolutely.
Have ourselves a LAN party under the bridge and do hardstyle dancing.
Oh man, that sounds so good. I got my partner the Merrick K LAN party coffee table book for Christmas, and I'm fucking on. I'm buzzing about LAN parties. I'm ready to have the least safe one of all time, wherever.
I miss LAN parties for so many reasons. All right, I think with that, considering I feel like if we're talking about CyberGots, we've definitely reached the bottom of our
Yeah, time to go.
ability to discuss.
Time to go.
Time to just fucking log off.
Jimmy, thank you so much for your
always a
your
joy.
time.
I want to
Really
do this
appreciate you
often.
bringing this to us. Any final grand statements about Operation Ragnarok or anything else?
Yeah,
Any manifestos?
I've got two: free Venezuela, free Palestine.
100%, absolutely.
Co-signed 1,000%.
You're not really online, Jimmy, so I'm not sure if I have anywhere to direct people, but come hang out in the Discord. Jimmy's always hanging out there. Always good for a chat and for a laugh. If you want to get somebody to go have a long conversation with you about hardcore breakbeat hardcore or something, Jimmy is your best friend there.
It's better to say I'm very online. I'm just not successful or productive.
Yes, true enough. We're going to get you back again. I need to have you come and talk about some Sonic soundtracks in future. It's been too long since we've done a Sonic soundtrack, so I think for the next one we'll get you to do one of the many Sonic soundtracks we've discussed in the past few years for sure.
So a little bit of inside basketball.
Basketball. Oh, don't talk about that movie.
This was going to be a Sonic Frontiers episode, but I forgot to actually play the game again in time.
We will 100% get to Sonic Frontiers, hopefully this year, because whatever else about the game, and it's a fine game, the soundtrack might be my favorite Sonic soundtrack. It is fucking phenomenal on so many levels. I will leave that discussion for a future episode, but absolutely, one of the best soundtracks they've done in the entire series, and that is saying something.
In 2026.
Yeah, for sure. Reese, have you anything you want to plug? Or just the usuals? You still muted?
Sorry,
Reese?
my shit froze up there for a second. Not being silly. No. You know me.
Links are in the show notes as always.
Links are in the show notes. You know my bullshit.
Yeah. Come and find the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Come and find us on Patreon, the CRT sound system there. Come find us on Blue Sky. I don't really do much posting on the podcast account other than to just post episode updates. You can follow me on Blue Sky. I just shitpost a lot. If you want some whatever stream of consciousness coming out of me on Blue Sky, you can follow me at 4push. Review the pod. Go on iTunes. Go on wherever you're listening to it. Give us a review. Only if it's 5 stars, or if you really really want to complain about the lack of critical race theory on the episodes.
No, don't do that. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know you're listening. Show us some love if indeed you do love us. It'd be great.
If you don't love us, I don't want to hear about it. But also, why are you listening if you don't love us? So
exactly.
Frankly, you've made a weird choice.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you're listening and don't love us, you probably have been assigned by the CIA to check out what these malcontents are potting about.
Indeed.
Before we forget, just to say, Manabu Namiki, we love you.
Indeed, we love you. Get well soon. Get back to making music.
Absolutely.
It will improve the world immeasurably.
It's on your shoulders.
No pressure.
Indeed. Yeah. All right, so the last track we're going to go out with is another Ayako Saso remix. It's called Can't Wait 30 Seconds, and that is the high speed mix. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Jimmy. Thank you as always, Reese. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice night.
Bye.
Bye.